Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. You made it to Friday. Oh, happy Friday. If you're wondering, why does Deanna look like such an old crone tonight? Well, I'm celebrating my birthday weekend by just not wearing makeup on a live show because I'm just crazy busy. And I have been looking forward to today all day. That's how much I enjoy being together on these nights because it has been nonstop busyness, which is a wonderful thing. But here is my chance to relax with a glass of water. Mm. Only because I know I've got a couple more hours of work to do after the show. So, work that I love, but still, if I start enjoying myself with a glass of wine, I might really enjoy myself. If you know what I mean. Happy Friday, everybody. Let's see what buddies are on. Cats Gallery, great to see you. Hooray for gallery night. I love running these gallery night shows. I was getting pieces in until about an hour ago, and then I had to just close the gate because I had to get some food. And Teddy, this is like so awful, but Teddy started with how great a Whopper was. Like he'd never had a Whopper, and I'm always advertising food on this channel, aren't I? And I thought, all right, well, you don't really like hamburgers. You certainly don't like cheese, pickles, tomato, onions, anything like that. But he said, I want to give it a try. So I said, let's go over to the drive-thru. Picked out a Whopper, and to be fair, he did have a few bites, and they are delicious. What is wrong with him? But yeah, rushed times. Linda, be great to see you. 2 evenings in a row, that's true. We did Thursday night. I like doing that Thursday night. And I am thinking about doing more with doing a night that is like a Thursday show that is just like art history, inspiration, looking at different artists, not as in depth as a design but just like an overview, just having fun, maybe doing some visits to galleries and things and looking at pieces. It could be really fun. I love talking about the history part. I loved talking about Garrett Bluenose yesterday. That was a great book. I know a lot of you bought it since then. And yeah, it was a great show. I just really enjoy looking at those pieces. And remember Celia's hand colored burlaps. Oh, I was looking for that sort of thing on eBay today, to no avail. But still, I'm always looking for those colored blue nose. They are so great. Ryan, howdy, good to see you. I loved your post in the group. Your epic work. I mean, when you put all your epic work together, it is so insanely impressive. It's like a gallery show. Isn't it a gallery show? Do you ever look for places to like, I know you're like so humble, but look for places to hang your stuff because it's just so cool. Carrie, great to see you. I got your piece in. Yep, I got your piece in. That was like one of the last ones I put in. It is so lovely. You're proud of it, and you should be proud of it. We're going to see that at the end of the show. Melanie, your beautiful piece is in too. Hello and happy Friday night. From sunny Washington. Interesting. Is it sunny? We got a little bit of sun here too, I have to say. I can't complain. It's warm enough that I'm taking my shoes off because I'm feeling like I'm going to expire, or you know what. Hot, cold. Kaz, great to see you in Wisconsin. Can't wait to see it made the cut. Of course it made the cut. Of course it did. It's so beautiful. Your fish is crazy good. It's going to be hanging in the living room, right? Michelle, great to see you. Deborah, great to see you. I thought you were working, but you logged on. Fantastic. Oh, you have to work tonight, so you may have to drop off. Maybe we should do yours early then, knowing that. I'll do yours earlier then. I'll start with yours because I want you to be able to see it. Becky, great to see you. Happy evening in Indiana. Oh, how fun. I wish we could all be together. Let's make a pact that if anybody wins the lottery, that we fly all the regulars, all our live regulars out to be together some night so we can do something together. A hook in or something, right? A hook in and, oh, wouldn't that be so nice? I guess you have to play to win, so maybe I'll start playing. Never try, never win, right? Robin, great to see you. Candace, I don't know if I said it yet, but great to see you. You know I love seeing you. Andrea, good evening. Great to see you. Jay, good evening. Hello, everyone. It is finally feeling like winter. And just when I thought winter was over, it is what it is, right? Maybe we'll get some sledding yet. Bonnie, great to see you from Palm Coast, Florida. Oh, that sounds very sunny and very cheery. Lorraine, hello. Brenda, hello. Is it Dunedin, Florida? Dunedin, like Scottish sounding? That's an exotic name. I bet it is beautiful there right now. April, great to see you in Illinois. And Carrie, you're in Clearwater Beach, Florida. There's a lot of Floridians on. That's great. I wonder if any of you are close to each other. I think you recently had a gathering, right? I think that was Florida. Karen, Joyce, great to see you. Dave, great to see you. Oh, good. Your package arrived today. Oh, good. Did you open it and you like what's in it? That was a good package, I thought. If I do say so myself, I was excited. But only use what you want to use. It's for the Design Like project. Only use what you like, and we'll keep the subject a secret. I will let the cat out of the bag with some of them, but I don't want to let it out with all because I am noticing, and I hope that I'm not paranoid, a trend in people doing a lot of the same things that I've been doing on the show, and it does get me down, I have to say. I get down for half a day. I did a little bit of rage cleaning, got back to work. I'm not going to be specific, of course, but when you see it, you probably know it too. And at the end of the day, I think to myself, I'll have another good idea tomorrow. It's fine, but it seems to happen a lot. So I've been keeping some ideas under my hat, which I never do and I don't like to do, but I get so tired of that whole thing. It is what it is. SRR Games, hi again. You're back with us. I'm so happy to see you. I hope it was a good day today. I hope it was not a bullying day today. I hope it was a really good day today. You are with your friends now, so happy Friday. Especially happy Friday to you, right? Because you're at the edge of the weekend now. Oh, thank you. Happy birthday weekend. Thank you so much. I mean, I really should have put some makeup on. I'm pushing so hard because we have the Design Like class on Sunday and I'm finishing up on that. That is such a good class. And I have to say, I know a lot of you are signed up for Design Like the Woman Abstractionists on Sunday and next Wednesday. Every one of these design classes is different, right? And this one is about three women abstractionists from fairly different time periods. The earliest one is Hilma af Klint, the Swedish artist, spiritualist artist, very strange, very exciting story, really lovely. And then Agnes Pelton from the late 19th century, early 20th century, sometimes called a mystic painter, sometimes called a desert transcendentalist, right? She had lots of phases, all interesting. And then finally, bringing us up to the 1950s, Helen Frankenthaler, who's one of my all-time favorites. It's a really exciting class. I hope you're signed up. It's less constant exercises in this class because it's so abstract. So it's a combination of like, if yoga and meditation translated to making sketches, it would be this class with lots of really fascinating commentary. These are three of my favorite women artists of all time. I hope you're signed up for that. I hope I see you on Sunday. Lorraine, great to see you. Sharon, great to see you playing Will It Snow or Will It Not Snow? That is so Shakespearean, and it gets old fast, doesn't it, Sharon? I'm glad you're there. Marion, hello, good to see you. Lisa, good to see you. Happy Friday. Teresa, thank you. Thank you. My birthday's coming up on Tuesday, and I'm already starting celebrating with this face and just trying to relax a little bit. Thank you so much. I'm excited. I'm always excited when it's my birthday. I'm going out for sushi tomorrow with my mother and my sister at our sushi place, and then I'm staying over my mom's with my sister, and she's working on my hair and doing some fun stuff, so I need to be able to set aside the afternoon and evening tomorrow, which is always hard to do. But it's good to be busy, isn't it? It's a positive thing. Linda H., great to see you. Joy, great to see you. Happy Friday. Juliet, great to see you in Maryland at a noisy pub with love. Miscellaneous. Any way to turn on closed captioning? Oh, I don't know. Does anybody know how to do closed captioning for the show? Is that a thing? That would be amazingly high tech, wouldn't it? Courtney, you're on too. Are you two still together? You're not still together, right? Or you'd be sitting together. Good to see you too. Linda, great to see you. Cold and icy. Sharon, great to see you. That I have to be a live regular. You log on whenever it makes sense. You know I love you anytime. Brenda, great to see you. Celia is part of your hooking group in Florida. And we didn't know her talent. Oh my gosh, her talent is amazing. I'm sure she's a beautiful hooker too, because we looked at some of her lovely directional hooking. But those painted burlaps, I mean, her hooking is astonishing. I'm just a super sucker for painted burlap. It's just one of those things that I get hung up on. Wait until next week when you see her again. Tell her how much we were appreciating her work and her talent. It's a lot. It's like bottomless pit of talent. And Linda, thank you. Andrea. Oh, Andrea, good to see you. Oh my God, we may get 6 inches of snow on Monday into Tuesday. Oh, that would be a horrible birthday surprise. how am I ever going to get to Red Lobster where the kids want to take me on my birthday if there's 6 inches of snow? Class, right? Class. Carrie, it's Dunedin. Dunedin. Oh, okay. That is very Scottish sounding. Dunedin. Very good phonetic spelling. Thank you. Oh, that sounds like fun. I really want to take a trip to Florida. I want to take the kids and then I want to ditch them, right? I want to do Disney and all that Everglades stuff. And we used to live in Fort Myers years ago. And then I want to ditch them and have a get together. I think that's on the cards for when the book comes out. Still slated for June 1st. Thank you so much. Thank you for the happy birthdays. I'm looking very forward to the Sunday class. It will be awesome. Super inspirational. Oh my gosh, lots of buddies on. Lori, great to see you. Wendy, great to see you. Happy Friday. I'm just skimming through. Oh, thank you, Juliet. It is. Thank you. And Annette, great to see you. They're from Nova Scotia in the middle of a snowstorm right now. Well, I'm so happy to see you. I'm so happy to see everybody, and I'll keep an eye on the chat. I want to get right into commentary because we have so many things to look at tonight. I want to start because for the last two shows, I told you about some rugs that I saw when I was away teaching last weekend on the way to Cape Cod, and I've talked about them twice, and neither time did I have them in the slideshow. So I definitely want to quickly get to Deborah's work because I know you've got to get out to we in Florida would love a get together. Carrie, we should try to maybe put it together because it would make sense for me to go this year as soon as the book is out. Book is out in June, so I could go later in the year, like later in the fall kind of thing. Also to Canada, there's a bunch of stops that I will certainly make this year. But let me show you some of that stuff before we look at Deborah's, and then we'll start in the proper chronology because a couple of people wrote and said, "Oh, you didn't show the rugs," and I didn't show the rugs. Just want to remind you, this is the ad for the Design Like Women Abstractionists, and these are some of the amazing works that we're seeing. Look at the photographs of these women painting in this style, right, in the late 19th, early 20th century. It really is literally fantastic, fantastical. Um, Amazing. It's just amazing work. It's going to be a wonderful show. So some of the rugs I told you about that I saw last week, a couple of them were the Priscilla Turner rugs, and these are two of them. So this large one on the ground I think was $490, something like that, between $450 $490. I really liked it because it had the cranberry border, unlike most Priscilla Turner rugs we see. That was a heavy price tag for it, and the rug is definitely worth that. I'm just not used to spending that much for the Priscilla Turner rugs, and it's not that they're not worth it. Of all of the ones I've seen, this one is worth it. Now I'm having second thoughts. But it really is a lovely rug. It was large, as you can see, and in beautiful condition. And unlike most of the Priscilla Turners I see, this one had a double border. And that pink double border on the inside really complements that cranberry border on the outside. We almost always get the brown border with the Priscilla Turner rugs. Now, these were made in Turner Falls, Maine, hence the Turner. And the Priscilla is a made-up name, right, to make them sound quite old. And a extra large floral spray in the center. So this really is an unusual example. Now I'm really having second thoughts. That was a big price tag. When I go through next time, I'm pretty sure it will still be there. It is a lovely rug. But these rugs are, in most people's taste, a little bit dated right now. And the reason that I'm liking them is because I'm working with the family on writing a history of, it was the dad who ran the Priscilla Turner Company for years, and I'm working with his daughter Patricia on the story and the son. I forget the son's name right now, but he's very helpful too, and he had kept a lot of scrapbooks, so that was exciting. And in Wisconsin too, Robin, absolutely. To remind me when that fair is. Remember the fair that you and Carol and Kaz went to? I want to be there for that this year. There was like lots of rugs up. If that's an annual thing, that's when I want to be there. Because you look like you had comfortable clothes on too. I'm such a computer spy, checking out the situation in all the different places, right? But I think that'd be a great time to come. Definitely before it gets cold, right? Now in the stall right next to it, this Priscilla Turner was there, and again, black background is a little bit different. I really like this one too. I just felt like I had at least one, if not two, of those. Kaz, I definitely want to come. I do have it in my head to do that, and I do have the idea. I just want to plan stuff when I travel so that I'm not just spending, that I'm also recouping some money by teaching and having events and stuff like that. Oh, hey, Lily, I haven't seen you for ages. It's great to see you, and happy Friday. So I love this one too. This was $65 in the stall next to it. Obviously significantly smaller, but you can see the really interesting colors in these. The more I look at them, the more I like them. They are very romantic. And these were probably made, I would say, 60s, 70s, that kind of time period. So for that time, they were on the old-fashioned side. But for people who wanted that, They were perfect, and they are beautifully made by hand with the kind of punch that we now call either the tufting gun for the men or the shuttle punch for the women. They worked in two different ways. This rug was there too, and I really regret not getting it. It was on the pricey side, and it was in very bad shape. There's a lot of staining in it, but every time I look at this photo now, I think that this is probably an original rug. It was a really large, irregular size. It's not like it's a hearth rug. I don't recognize it anyway. It just reminded me of kind of a old Deerfield, kind of old time New England, Christmas in Connecticut kind of a house. Beautiful red salt box, right? Snowy day, wreaths on the door, anticipation of the holidays. Oh, it's just making my heart hurt now. I just loved it. I might be taking a road trip back to New Bedford soon. This was the Grenfell that I found and shot my mouth off. Oh, Lily, you've been busy, I bet. In September. Okay, Kaz, that's perfect. That's perfect. I can get the kids back to school and I can take off for a few days. That would be really easy. You can see this Grenfell is, I mean, you can't expect every rug to be in perfect shape. This was really small. This was, I'd say, probably 13 or 14 square. And it was, we'll look at the price tag next. I think it was close to 500. It's not in great condition, but you can see the really, really fine directional hooking and the rays of sun on top. Binding looks beautiful. It makes me think the binding might be newer, right? You see that binding on there? It doesn't really fit with the rest of it. It's very well done if it is. But it is a high price tag because the central motif is a little bit roughed up or dirty enough to be almost hard to read. I can read the polar bear's feet and ears and obviously face, but and there is a difference between the polar bear color and the directional hooking on the icebergs and polar bears, right? So that in itself is a great sign. This is certainly a Grenfell rug. But yeah, the price, and I love the radiating sun. The price was $5.50. So that does certainly look like a new binding, doesn't it? Perfectly done, perfectly well done, but all the same. And then there were a few other rugs scattered around like this one. I didn't even check the price on it because I knew it was a commercial design. And I wasn't, and it's very pretty, but I see this pattern a lot, and it wasn't particularly well done. I certainly didn't like the frame, so I kind of left that the way that it was. Oh, Lily, your mom's not doing well, so you're going back and forth to Florida. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope that resolves itself in a happy way sooner rather than later. Yeah, Carrie, 500 seems steep for that. It definitely seems steep for that. A lot of the Grenfell rugs are on the smaller size because they were tourist items, right? So, and they are super collectible, and certainly a polar bear is collectible, and therefore two polar bears are even more collectible. But it is quite, I don't want to say dirty like it's a crime for a rug to be dirty, but it is dirty enough that the picture is a bit obscured. And readability is a huge issue with collecting rugs because when you look at something, if there are color changes that are in sync with the timeline of it, if it's an old rug and the dyes have been fading over time or the sun has been getting at it, you fully expect that. But with the white on white, it's very tough because it doesn't have a very high impact anymore. And without that high impact, but still with the high price tag, it's hard. I thought to myself, like, I'm not putting myself on a pedestal by any means, but I'm probably the most likely person to walk into that store and know what a Grenfell rug is and want to buy it, and I didn't want to buy it. Not for that price. So I don't know how they're going to make out with that. It's steep for sure. This was one that I almost did buy. It was also steep. It was, I think, over 200, and that's not super steep, but yeah, I've just been spending money like a sailor at port lately. So I thought I'll put the brakes on because it wasn't in perfect shape, but nice color changes at the corners. Very nice old rug. I think it is a commercial pattern that the maker has taken a lot of artistic liberty because of limited colors, but has done so well with color placement, all things considered. Very interesting border made up of lots of different grays and heathery grays. So pretty. Some of these rugs I regret leaving, actually, so I might have to run back for them. That's a close-up of that one. Thought it was exquisite. Oh my gosh, and then a couple of stupid things I saw. How could I pass on this? I mean, I don't need it. You know what I mean? I don't need it, but I saw this. I don't like the Disney figures on it. It made me wonder, what is this for? Does anybody know what this was for? Because I really like it. I like the shape of it. I like fairy tale stuff. But what is Bookland and what are all the some Disney characters doing? Do you think that they're like decals like a child put on after the fact, or do you think that this item served a function? Because it was over 2 feet tall, I think. Um, yeah, I don't know, but I was curious. It really caught my attention because it's like a dollhouse, except it's not. There was another item there that fell into that category that really slayed me, but it was a lot. It's like a dollhouse, but it's not. It's a beautiful vignette with like Asian type fairies and butterflies and kind of a sailor's valentine, one of those concave souvenir pictures with lots of shells around it. But the person has put them into a crate with lots of seashells and moss and a little bit of lavender colored lace. And God, it's so romantic and pretty. Um, Judy, I got that feeling too that the decals were added later because they don't make sense. Although, the old woman in the shoe could have some Disney connotations. It is a nursery rhyme, right? And it's not. I don't associate it with Disney at all. Interesting. Now I'm going to get to our show, but those were the ones I saw last weekend just to catch us up there. Oh, Candace, maybe a library display because it said shoe. What did it say? Shoe something or something library. It said something library, didn't it? I'll have to go back to it now, but I don't want to hold up Deborah because I know that you got to shoot out the door to work. And you sent in this lovely piece, this lovely story rug that is your own design. It's a grapefruit rabbit. And this had a beautiful story attached to it, your own pattern and a story rug at that. So Deborah, think about whether once you finish it, you want to send it to me to put up in the story rug display at the gallery in Hartford in April. Let me know if that's something you want to do because it would certainly fit well into that category. And you said the story is that when you were coming from Arizona on your way to California in January, you saw rabbits sitting under this grapefruit tree eating the leaves. And I guess it was a moment that just caught your heart, caught your attention. You thought it was so super cute, and you remembered and created this original pattern to sort of commemorate that great vignette on your way to what I hope was a great trip. So absolutely beautiful. You are doing so well with this. The drawing is absolutely to die for. It is so well stylized. It is so pretty. You did it so well. The rabbit's face is like Watership Down without the sadness, right? Just happy little face munching away at the leaves, right? Coming up for air. And the way that you're shading that grapefruit is just beautiful. I love the graphic impact of the black. See, people always say, what do you hook first? It's different for every person, right? Deborah's a little bit of one of the puzzle makers of the world, hooking the border, right? Some people love to see the border to define the space. And once you define the space, you kind of capture it, right? And then it's more manageable. I do that sometimes myself. And then you outlined the rabbit too. You've got those great graphic beginnings going. And I can see that you are doing some phenomenal shading. And it is still graphic, bold shading on the grapefruit. I can almost picture the way the rest of it's going to be, and it's going to be glorious. I hope that you keep us updated, and I hope that you send us more pictures so that we can keep on top of rabbit grapefruit. And if you have any more adventures, right, make sure that you draw them. So good. It was so good, Deborah. Love the rabbit's face too, April. That was just so pretty. Now, I wanted to pick up where we left off because we left off with the fish kite. Teddy's calling me from downstairs. That's amazing. I just told him I was coming upstairs. So this was Becky's fish kite, and we were admiring this at the end of the show before it shorted out last week. I hope that doesn't happen this time, and I think I fixed it. It was a screen sensitivity issue because my screen is cracked, and the sensitivity thing was on. When I got an update, it turned it back on. Sorry about that. Left too abruptly, but hopefully that won't happen anymore. This is just beautiful, and we were looking at this. I think we finished looking at this, but it's worth looking at one more time. This is an Alice Butler design. Well, it's a Vic Hugo design and hooked by his mom, Alice Butler. So this is in the Ribbon Candy Hooking Collection. Under Alice Butler, you will find Fish Kite, and this celebrates a special day in Japan, Boys' Day, when the boys fly fish kites, right? And everybody celebrates being a little boy. All the little boys in their lives. It's just a beautiful design. The coloring is absolutely exquisite. I even like it more than the original. And I was remarking on how fine the white lines are. The birds in the sky, right? I think it goes sideways. I think it goes, I don't want to fool with anything extra, but I would tip it counterclockwise so that his head was down, his tail was up, and those birds in the sky made sense, right? That would make a bit more sense. Such a beautiful pattern. I love that directional hooking on the border too. You're right, Linda. Great movement, a great color. Heather, good to see you. Oh, good to see you. Annette, the shading is just crazy on this. I love the color change in the brown. We always think about brown as a vehicle, like just a neutral that can't take you too far. It's taking us really far in Becky's piece. The brown is driving us right into the heavens, and it's so unexpected as a color choice. But you can see it's operating as a neutral, but it really supports the black, the white, all the different colors of teal, and all those pops of orange. Right, the teal and the orange are complementary colors right across the color wheel, and for that reason, they are helping each other along. It is just a beautiful piece. It is just beautiful. I really can't get enough of it. We started looking at this when our thing pooped out last Friday. So Robin Elizabeth Dragovich, this is just beautiful, and everything I show of Robin's is beautiful. She is beautiful. This is a beautiful shaped piece. We saw it being worked on, if you remember. It is like a still life of a wooden bowl with one of those netted, the netted red bags with oranges in it. It's just what it looks like. But it does have such an abstract quality, and there is height to the netted part, right? So Robin is always challenging herself with really, really difficult techniques. This certainly falls into that category. I think it's an extraordinary piece. It is a hell of a still life. I mean, sometimes still lifes I think are underestimated, and I think a still life is always a great subject, but something like this is so challenging because there's patterning in the bowl, there's the patterning of the net, right, of the red net. It has height, and you can see how it puckers as they do, right, where it gathers. That is so difficult to accomplish. And then underneath I think it's punched or it's hooked with yarn, but I think it might be punched. Oranges peeking out, right? It's really hard to pull this kind of thing off. But April, the netting is awesome, absolutely awesome. And if you look at the size of it in comparison to the scissors, right, as a gauge, that's pretty crazy. This is a really hard piece. Robin, you always do like incredible work. I think this, I'm not sure if that's the back of it. Oh, that's on the monk's cloth right before she cut it, right? So that's the front, but you can see the monk's cloth. And she is about to, I'm sure, shape it, cut it down, shape it, tuck it in, and finish it, right? So it becomes a shaped piece. The bowl does look Japanese, Kaz. It absolutely does. It has that look. And it's kind of it's the opposite of what I would expect. I would expect more brown with like the more the black or the dark brown accents, but it's reversed. And for that reason, for me, that creates even more interest. All these little touches, right? All these little touches. Judy says even the orange skins have texture. They do. That's the punch, right? The punch is giving them those little dimples, those millions of little dimples that an orange really has. It's such a smart piece. People always say, what can I put in the kitchen? Like, what kind of a subject can you put in the kitchen? You can always put food in the kitchen. That's always a good match. Oh, Becky, good to see you. Oxford Punch and Rug Crafter Tufter. Ryan, I know that's what you use. Somebody probably asked. I missed that. I'm sorry. I'm losing track of the thread, but I love to see you all chatting. Now, this next piece is by Laura McGrath. I tipped it a little bit so we could see it a little bit better. And Laura said, I'm almost embarrassed to say that I drew this pattern out in 2016, dyed the purples, got the flowers hooked, and then put it away. And you know what? That's nothing to be embarrassed about at all, is it? Because we all do that. We all do that. I do that with everything in my life. Writing projects, craft projects, rug projects, sewing projects, quilts, everything. We all know that story. We are all guilty of the same thing. And I really am a strong believer in if you don't have the time or you lose the heart connection to whatever you're working on, unless someone is holding like a proverbial gun to your head, you really shouldn't, right? You really shouldn't. You should work on things when they inspire you. You should work on what inspires you. And when something is not inspiring you, have the sense, right? You owe it to yourself to just put it away. Unless it's a gift or something, maybe get something else. You should be working on things when you feel like it because they'll come out better that way, right? You just go with projects like this, just go with where your heart is and it will come out better. You'll see, it will. And if you return to it years from now, who cares, right? All projects need a timeout. Absolutely. Oh, she uses both, Ryan. So that was what she uses as well. She hooks and uses that tufter. That's the same one that you use, right? God, you both are so good. It's crazy. All projects need a timeout. Everybody and everything needs a timeout. I know I do. So Laura, this piece is just beautiful. And let me read the end of what she said. I'm just catching up. There we go. Got it out last week and dyed a bunch of greens for the background and have been diligently working on it. I'll be glad when it's finished. And then she edited the remark later and said, I finished the hooking. Now I have to steam it and decide on what finishing technique to use. So she was just finishing it right in the middle toward the end of this month, February 2023. And it is so, so, so pretty. I just love the focus on the flowers, and I love the color family of the flowers. Purples and greens always go together beautifully, right? They're also like complementary colors, a little bit of blue in there, but I just love the palette. It's a very odd purple. It's almost a mauvey purple with that kind of aubergine color. I just love it. And then the aubergine goes to kind of a blueberry color. So unexpected, so lovely. And this kind of background pattern, all over pattern of leaves, really, really stunning, right? It really helps your eye travel, all those pops of light, right? It's very magical looking. Nice big flowers against much more sort of articulated leaves. Very well done. Very pretty. Love the lavender colors, Kaz. I do too. It really is different. And little pops of yellow. Great feeling for color. Great feeling. Oh, this is another great piece by Cindy Wise Moore. And she says, I've done punch needle for years. I now want to explore different threads and yarns. My question is, can I use different threads and yarns in the same picture? This is a picture I punched a couple of years ago. And she used, I think, crochet thread. So I think this might be mini punch or Russian punch. And you know, people in our Facebook group, which is called Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club, are so helpful and kind. One of the comments was by Marcia, and she said, I think if you mix your fibers with what is available these days, you are going to fall in love with punch all over again. Marcia, that was such a nice thing to say, and it's a perfect thing to say because it's so true. It's absolutely so true. This is such a beautiful piece. I do love the way this is framed. It looks like the weaver's cloth in the background is being shown. So the part that's punched is a colorful part. I do like that. I love that technique of letting some of the background show, right? Let the piece speak for itself. This has such a sort of Peter Max feel to it, right? It's got a very pop arty feel to it. I love the outlining here and there. I love the sketchy quality of it, the sketchbook quality of it. It is so good. It is so good. April says, I really love this. Love the shapes and florals together. Great job. It's Sandy. I'm sure I said it badly. Sandie. But absolutely love it. I love it too. It reminds me of like a little village, right? Because there's some triangle shapes hanging out there. I like the shapes within the shapes. This is the kind of design that you could just start sketching with a Sharpie on your backing fabric and just get going. But don't forget to use your whites, right? Look at how much the white is helping this piece along because there's a lot of color and there's a lot of primary color. And the weaver's cloth is a natural color. Karen says very 60s looking and groovy. It is super groovy. It is oh no, April, that was me. That was me. It is super groovy. Like, are you standing on the corner of Haight-Ashbury looking at this, right? Painted on a wall or on the back of somebody's shirt. It feels like that. It feels like you're there. It is so, so pretty. Lily says, can you punch instead of rug hooking, even if it's the cloth for rug hooking? You can punch with a traditional punch onto rug hooking backings like rug warp, monk's cloth, linen, and burlap even. But you cannot do mini punch into those backings because the mini punch is teeny, teeny, teeny. So none of the threads that would go through any of the mini punch varieties would ever be able to sit in a woven rug hooking backing because it's just different scale. It's like totally different scale. But with the weaver's cloth, that's what people use for the mini punch, which is also called Russian punch. You could do it with an Oxford punch, absolutely. Yeah, this is the teeny, teeny punch, like the ultra punch or the pretty punch, whatever one you use. But this is just a gorgeous. I just love this piece. This is such a good inspiration. You know, when you feel like freestyling it and you don't have anything handy, or you're looking at the things that you do have handy and you're not feeling any of them, if you just take your Sharpie out and draw one or two flowers in the middle, you just keep adding as you go, right? And it's going to work itself out. Beautiful piece, Sandy. Really beautiful piece. Steve Sims put this up. I just thought this was so funny. He put this up and he said, and if you remember last week, he posted, I think his mother-in-law's, He posted a rug by his mother-in-law that was really exquisite, and I used it on the last gallery time. And he posted this himself and said, just because I cuz, a hairy man, a hairy, oh, and cuz, he used the word cuz, K-U-Z, so I had to look that up because I'm not up on like, modern lingo at all. And K-U-Z actually means a hairy man beast. I don't know if Steve meant that, but I thought it was kind of funny, especially in light of this beer cozy, right? Kind of funny. Another definition of a cuz, K-U-Z, is a person who likes to sing in the shower for hours. So that makes me a cuz too, until the hot water goes away anyway. But I thought this was just so funny. And Brenda Gale Thompson on that thread posted a cozy that she had made for her coffee cup. So funny. April says, I'm really in love with this canned coulis. Oh, you call it a coulis. How fun. I don't know that word. Yeah, I mean, this is so easy to make. And Brenda Gale Thompson had made one too. And she said, I really love yours. Couldn't tell if that was a video of me in the background. It looks like one of the shirts I have. Definitely looks like my boobs. I don't know. But I love seeing you watching my videos. It makes me feel happy that I spend the time making them. This is another gorgeous piece. Valerie Tillman. What a pretty piece this is. My word. Breakwater Light, right? So this is 22 by 38. And she said, I designed and started this project almost 20 years ago. We've moved twice, and I finally decided to get back into hooking. Good for you, Valerie. That is such good news. This is hooked on burlap with mostly recycled wool from thrifted skirts. It's hanging in my home. I had to make a custom frame, a weird size, spray painted it blue. I think I might be on the wrong, hold on, let me check. I might be on the wrong slide. Let me see. Hold on, I've got my notes in front of me. I want to look at the back too. Okay, no, we're good. So this is the back of it, right? So this is still Valerie Tillman's piece. This is the back of Breakwater Light. And she says, it's hanging in my home. I had to make a custom frame, and it was a weird size. And she spray painted it blue because she had that color. And she used 3M command strips to hang it. I used carpet tack nails to attach to the frame. I watched a few YouTube videos and actually combined a few to make it work for me. See, that is so cool because look at it hanging in the house, right? So she created this frame and she spray painted the frame. And then she used the carpet tack to permanently, because you can easily do a frame just with a miter box saw, right? Even I can do that. It is so pretty, right? Oh, Melanie, you say you call them canned cookies. How funny. Or koozies. How funny. And we just say cozy, like C-O-Z-Y here. One of those words like a grinder that everybody has different language for. I think this is an amazing idea. Because in theory, if it were a custom size, right, like the size of a canvas frame at Michael's or Joann's, you could rip off the canvas and you could put carpet tack on and you would see the edges. And if you didn't want that natural wood showing, you could paint it like Valerie did. She painted it blue, which was perfect for this piece. And then it's just permanently up there. Oh, Cindy, hello in Rochester, Minnesota with 12 new inches of snow. Oh, I hope you're doing okay there. I hope it looks very, very pretty. It's keeping you inside, and hopefully it's cozy in there, right? This is a beautiful piece. I just love this idea. I just think this is a great, easy idea. Maybe there's a video coming for you. As soon as the dust clears, I know the dust is never going to clear, but I am going to come up for air. It's just going to be about a week before I do. Melanie, this is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. I have a finished piece of this later in the show. But you sent this. Hi, Deanna. Hope your day is as beautiful as ours. It almost looks like spring. Oh, this was a little while ago. Still chilly at 40 degrees, though. I wanted to send my latest project for gallery night. It's Buttercups by Dion Fitzpatrick Studios on burlap. I won't be doing anything else on burlap. All those messy hairs that I don't like the scratchy feel. All the antique patterns I have and a few others that are on burlap are going to get transferred onto linen or rug warp. I decided to hook this one instead of punch. Slow going, but I like the feel of the hook in my hand and the sound it makes as I push it through the material. Oh, that is such a nice description. Not sure I like the big block of purple. Oh, I do. Oh, I like that very much. Looks more subtle in person, but I think I'll pull out a few strands and add some other shade to give some contrast instead of just one big block of purple. Give the kiddos a hug for me. Oh, Melanie, I will. I will. Like I said, I'm going to show this one later in the episode because she has finished it in the meantime. I absolutely love this, Melanie. I'm going to save the rest of my comments for later in the episode. And I get what you're saying about the burlap. I absolutely get that. A lot of people feel that way about burlap. Hold on one second. I just had some rice with soy sauce and I'm like deadly thirsty. I know what you mean. Some burlap can be super hairy, and it is scratchy and itchy, and it you lose that great tactile feeling, right? Because you obviously enjoy the process of hooking. Just your description of the way the hook sounds, and it is that it's like this lulling sound that just very steady and rhythmic, very relaxing and meditative. And I guess if the burlap is scratchy, right, and most burlap is, it really takes away from that great experience you have when you really get into the tactile part of rug making. Some people feel that more than other people. Other people don't notice that part at all. So when you're somebody who has that kind of sensitive and romantic feeling about the act of hooking, you do have to be using materials that you absolutely love. I always work so fast that the burlap doesn't bother me. Some burlaps are better than others, of course, Scottish burlap being like the best. But the burlap that I've gotten recently, I can't even remember where I got it. I normally get stuff from Door Mill, but I didn't get that one there. I'll have to think on it, but it is a nice bolt. I think it's meant more for interior design, but it has a tight gauge, so it's great for hooking. I absolutely love it, and it's not hairy. So it's really hard to tell because unless you're looking at the backing in person, some burlaps will be great, just like linens. A lot of linen is very hairy and still really expensive. So, unless you can see what you're getting, and very few of us can because hardly any of us shop at rug hooking stores, right? You get what you get in the mail. I know what you mean. I know just what you mean. Annette says, I enjoy using monk's cloth when I punch. And Ryan says, love me some burlap. You do because you love the vintage stuff so much. The jute sateen from Rug Crafter smells so nice. I agree. I agree. It has a specific smell. It doesn't smell like anything, does it? It doesn't smell like anything. And I forget who I was talking to the other day, but we were saying how smell is the strongest scent, right? That's not like disputable. That is a fact. And I remember one of the cocktail nights I did when we lived in Amsterdam. Our friends came over, and we each had to make a cocktail with a special ingredient that was unusual. And when the person who was hosting the round of the drinks, these were drinking nights, and we were young. The kids were not born yet. We would put blindfolds on people, and you'd pass out small like samples of the drink that you brought in a thermos for the night with the theme of special. It had to have a special ingredient, and then the person with the blindfold on would have to say as many ingredients as they could detect in that drink without using sight, so no color cues, right? But scent and taste. And usually I found that for me, scent was even more powerful than taste with games like that. It was so much fun. It really was a fun party game. Annette says, I enjoy you. And April says, I hook with yarn and I love rug warp. Perfect for yarn. I also love rug warp for punching. For anything with yarn, I also love rug warp. And I get my rug warp from Door Mill. I get my linen from Michelle McGrelly. I get my stuff in different places because the ones that I like myself are the ones that I stock. And if I can't find anything wrong with it, then I stock it. And I've experimented too much in the early couple of years with different products from different people, well-known people. But if I don't like it, then I'm not going to give it to you, right? It's the same with food or anything else. Carol says, I love using linen, but I've hooked on burlap coffee bags, and they're not too bad. And Carol is saying, Robin is saying hi to her buddy Carol because they are buddies, Wisconsin buddies. The trio is here tonight. I love it. All right, Melanie, we're going to return to this amazing piece a little bit later in the show. Carrie, you posted this for last week, and I hadn't gotten to it yet. This is too cute. I got this out of order. Oh, wait a minute. Let me find. You wrote the cutest thing. You posted this in the group, and you were working on your piece, and you said, I just happened to look up from my frame, and this is the face that I saw. And then you posted a little bit closer up of the face, and you said, she is like such a sweetie and softie, and she just wants to. I can't find where I wrote what you wrote. But I forget what her name is. And you said she would just, if you were here, she would just give you like 100 kisses if she could. I thought, look at that face. What a cute little distract. She's a big girl, right? But what a cute distraction that is. What a character. What a character. That she would make a great rug, right? Such a funny face, April. Just love her. I just love her. She is a little doll. I think I'm out of order here. This makes me really worried. Okay. Well, I know this is Beverly's piece because I love it and I always clock Beverly's work. Let's see. I feel like I'm missing a page. That's not good, is it? Oh, that's so frustrating. Um, Gosh, I am. Well, I know, let me see how far I can get winging it. I know that this is Beverly's work, and I know of Beverly's work that number one, she works like a house on fire. I mean, it's constant. And she's always designing her own stuff. So I know this is her own design. She does such beautiful work, lots of dyeing, everything. She does like the whole process. But this is obviously the latest piece that she's working on. Really beautiful piece that is really evocative of like a Baltimore album block for me. I love the three flowers in the wreath configuration. It's just beautiful. I love the sawtooth or postage stamp frame that's about to go around this piece. And sunflowers are so great, particularly for right now, right? Keep getting news from the Ukraine and but such a beautiful piece. Another beautiful piece from Beverly. I'm so sorry. I definitely lost a page of commentary, so let me see how well I do. But Melanie, this is super great, and I'll be tracking this piece so that we can look at it completed. I'm sure you probably already finished this, right? A couple of days in, and you are done with these projects. You are like, who's a cartoon character who's really fast? The Roadrunner. That's it. You are like the Roadrunner. Whoosh! Absolutely beautiful. Super vivid colors. Really pretty. You always go for some primaries, but then the blue is not. The blue is such an inky midnight blue. It really pops the other colors. The green is not right on primary green either. It's really pretty. You're off center with your colors, and you're such a good colorist. Really lovely piece. Very graphic. Very pretty. Now, our friend Sonia Shrivers, and I think Sonia is in the Dutch. I think Sonia is in the Dutch-speaking part of Belgium. So I'm judging from your name, Sonia, and the way that you write your posts. Remember, a lot of our buddies in the group are from other countries, and people who speak Dutch typically speak English as well because Dutch is a very small language. So if you are a Dutch speaker, if you are, you could be in the French-speaking part of the Netherlands, but I'm guessing it's the Dutch. So I will say, Goede Eva. Good evening. I'm so happy that you're there. And this is not the first piece of yours that we've seen. You are killing it. This is only the second. Actually, this is only the second. And you posted another I have at the end of the show. You said, yay, my second project is done and I still have a lot to learn. Thank you to Deanna for teaching me this. Well, I think you taught yourself. You just watched some videos and I'm happy that they were there for you. But this is just a beautiful piece. Sonia is doing her own designing as well. Heel mooi, heel look, really beautiful, really lovely. So pretty. I love the scallop around the edges. I love the free form feel to it. I love the leaves falling down, right? The direction of them falling down. They're such big fat leaves. They almost have an Asian feel to them. And these little outcroppings of what look like sort of driftwood branches, little birds on them, has a lot of symmetry, is really beautiful, very unusual colors, incredibly mellow, really artistic palette, very artistic palette, right? For me, this is like really sophisticated coloring. The leaves, the way the vines are on the leaves, the color changing between the lighter and the more mellow veining on the leaves, the ombre sort of ringing out of the leaves, right? The perimeter is bordered out in like two extra colors besides that darker intense green. The blue with the blue and then with the midnight blue on the border line, really very sophisticated coloring. You definitely instinctively have this built in, and your technique is absolutely beautiful. Heel Gazella, and really, really, really pretty. Really pretty. And again, Sonia has another one later in the show. Ryan, you are just too much. This is day number 16 of Iowa winter. And at this point, we're done, right? Are we done at this point? I mean, this is really so pretty. And when you started it, I thought, man, It's like a snow scene. Is he going to finish it before the snow is all? Of course, you're going to finish it before the snow is all done. The snow is still here. Hi, Lisa. Good to see you. Oh, this is just so pretty. Let me look at the, okay, 5 foot by 7 foot. So this is, I mean, I'm just over 5 foot. So even on the small side, this is like me standing up. This is just crazy. You are like such a technically perfect worker. And still, I love these vintage patterns, but I feel like you still infuse style into them, like your own style, because I see what these patterns look like before you get started. And I feel like the fact that you substitute colors, like, I don't know if it was this one, if I remember, you substituted a gray for a gray. These are really important choices. You also pick patterns that are really extraordinary. Like this one is just beautiful. The shadow, right, under, you see how there are what's called almost ha-has, right? George Washington is the first person who had ha-has, these sort of raised fences where the ground kind of just drops down just a little bit and there's a little fence there that's called a ha-ha. Where the ha-has are, there's like a shadow underneath them, and that's really adding to the graphic impact of this piece. Beautiful barn, but look at the way that the tree lines in the distance have that stylized pattern, right? It's so good. It's so good. And the darker trees, like under those lamb's tongue shapes, there's like silhouetted dark on dark. Incredibly good. Incredibly good. I know Karen's saying, Ryan, what more can I say? This is beyond amazing. I can't imagine that a gallery. I know exactly. You should. I'm going to stop because I know you don't like the attention. I know you are like super, super modest. But I mean, all of your work should be gathered together and hung somewhere. And if you want to do it, but you don't want to do it, I will do it for you. This is just extraordinary work. I would definitely find a gallery for this. It is just, it's not only that it's beautiful work, it's that you always do these great vintage designs. So it has like crossover appeal. So for people who love, in many directions, for people who like textiles, for people who like rug making, for people who love the vintage look, for people who love vintage supplies. I mean, it crosses over in so many sweet spots that it's absolutely crazy. You do keep them. No, not to sell, just to show. You must keep them, but just to show other people altogether would be a truly awesome thing. No more pressure. I'm stopping. But yeah, no, I wouldn't want you to sell them at all. Absolutely, absolutely unbelievable. And I think I have another image. Hang on. Let's see. Wait a minute. So you took a break from Iowa winter and you did this little guy, the little Chihuahua. And that is so funny because you must have needed a break. You said, it's okay. No, this is okay. This is more than okay. This is really, really beautiful. A lot of expression in his little face. And look at all the colors in his little body. And you said, no, I really have to get back to Ohio winter. I get that. I get that. It's kind of funny that after Ohio winter, you not only did a much smaller piece, but it's like the smallest dog in the world. Like it's just, it's extra, extra small. Like super undersize me now after the supersized Iowa winter. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely. So, oh wow, Robin. Oh, Robin, this piece. This is a Sharon Smith pattern, and I think we all love Sharon Smith, called Sail Away. It's a great David Gray song, too. Sail away with me, honey. I changed a few things. I added the sun rays, and I changed what the girl looked like. I wanted it to resemble my daughter and son when they were small and always playing make-believe. I gave the girl longer hair, blue eyes, and a paper boat hat. Oh, man. Oh man, that is so good. I sewed ticking fabric on before I started, Polly Minnick style. I want to show you a photo of that because that is a very good call. I want to first keep looking at this. So I absolutely love this pattern. Are you all looking at the water? I mean, the water, yes, Carrie is looking at the water, is absolutely stunning. I just love, talk about the ultimate sort of whimsy, right? This like wooden duck. It's almost like the Trojan horse kind of thing, but happy. This wooden duck shaped like a boat, and these children in it. It reminds me of that song. Remember that? I don't know who sang it originally. I wonder who wrote it originally. That song called, I know it by the Irish Rovers, called Winkin', Blinkin' and Nod. It was a poem. Eugene Field. Was that Eugene Field? I think it was. Winkin', Blinkin' and Nod, right? Winkin', Blinkin' and Nod, like the two little eyes when the child is like so tired, their eyes are like winking and blinking and then they nod off. Such a cute song, but they talk about sailing away in a, what kind of a boat? On a something sea. Is that a famous song? That, it just reminds me of that because it's so whimsical. The children sailing away. That boat is to die for, Cindy. It's so well done. It has such a warm look to it. Like both browns, like that sort of neck, throat, and head, really rich russety. And then the other browns, a little bit lighter, but still super warm browns. I don't know how you did that. Lots of color change in those browns. Very pretty. Very strong directional hook. Wooden shoe. Thank you, Lisa. That's it. They sailed away in a wooden shoe. What's the rest of that? I can't even get the tune in my head. To the land or the lake or the pond of something. God, that's a beautiful song. So pretty. Juliet says, "What did the fabric on the duck boat look like? Great variations, stitch to stitch." Let me pull it a little bit. Let me pull it a little bit open to. Ooh, God, you know what just happened? It pulled something else away. Let me see if I can get to this image, and you know how I like to pop it open a little bit. Hang on, and let's see how well we can do. Oh wow, yeah, that's so. Oh, and I'm just realizing there's so much color change. Makes you think of swallows and Amazons. Oh, Judy, that's who's that? Arthur, not Arthur Rackham. Begins with a Ransom. Arthur Ransom, is that right? Oh, I forgot about that book. That is really a good parallel. Lisa said my baby's favorite lullaby. Oh, was it, Lisa? Oh, I should play that for my kids. See, my dad liked the Irish Rovers a lot, so I was real familiar with that, but I don't think my kids have listened to that music. I'm going to have to force it upon them, I think. Lisa says, sailed into a river of crystal light into a sea of blue. Yes, please sing it for me, Lisa. Oh, I love that. Isn't that beautiful? Robin says, thank you. The boat wasn't over-dyed. God, it's good, Robin. Your color changes are so good in every part of this. Linda H. says it invites you right into the adventure. It does, doesn't it? Ransom. Good. Sometimes I'm good. My brain sometimes works. It makes me feel good, like I'm not quite losing it yet. Robin, this is so pretty, and you sewed on the ticking beforehand. So polyminic style, this is exactly right. And this is what people used to do, like 1950s, 1960s. This was McGowan era teaching for this time, that you would first sew on your tape. Now, polyminic is the one who really made famous and made practical the idea of cotton ticking, usually in the nautical colors, because she's very sort of Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, New England nautical. I like the subtle birds too, Linda. They are so pretty. It has such a dreamy quality to it. But think about the idea of sewing on your border before you start your hooking, because then you know that part's done. Once you sew it on, right, you know that you're going to hook right to the edge, and then you're going to flip your edges around, whether it's ticking or quilt fabric or cotton tape or whatever you're going to use to finish it. You're going to wrap it around, and you can leave some of it showing. You can even drop a little cord into it, right, so it has some piping quality to it. But you know you're going to wrap it around at the end, and you're just going to stitch it down. And that's where the nightmare ends, right? So there's no, how am I going to finish this? You're already there, right? Oh, I'm trying to think of the Canadian artist who was so good. Doris Eaton. She also did that, sewing her Eaton edge on first, right? And then flipping it. And you know in your mind that's done. And isn't it good to be proactive? Like with everything in life, isn't it good? But with rug hooking too. It's just good to know in the back of your mind that that part is done. Cindy is asking, is it wool and yarn, Robin? Robin, you usually do just yarn, right? Did you do any, I'm sorry, just wool. Did you do any yarn in this piece or no? And Linda B says, sewing on the border like Doris Eaton style. Exactly. Yeah, she has what's called the Eaton edge. It's like her signature thing. And there are videos that were shot by Doris Eaton. She's passed away since, may she rest in peace, because she was one of the great icons of rug hooking. Really one of my idols. But she did record videos, and they are on YouTube. And you can see her doing the Eaton edge. So that's another one to watch for this type of technique. She has a lot of great how-to videos. Lily says, I have a lot of rug kits, but I want a punch instead. I know everyone says yes, but what Oxford size would I use? So Lily, you're only choosing between the regular needle, right, which is the wider one, or the fine one. There's only the two kinds. And then the number always refers to the length of the shaft. In other words, how high your loop is. So the lower the number, the higher the loop. So for example, the number 8 regular would be the highest possible loop with the wider needle. So you could put like going up to a bulky, right? It really depends on how bulky it is. But if you're using the fine needle, you can only go up to like a worsted weight. But still the same numbering system where counterintuitively the lower numbers is the higher pile. I feel like it should work the opposite way. Or you put on those little rubber washers from the hardware store from Amazon. They're called O-rings or washers, and you just put them on the shaft, and a number 8, which would be the tallest, becomes much with the rubber washer on, or 2 or 3, your loop becomes much lower, so you don't need to buy more than one needle. I have some videos on that too, one of the good hacks, right? Oh, Robin said the birds are chenille yarn. And Annette said, I use a number 10 regular for chunky yarn and a 13 fine for 2-ply. So that's good information. That's really good information. Yeah, I'm a big advocate of just get one fine needle in one regular needle and get a lot of washers so that you can adjust the size without buying like a ton of needles for $40-something each. Robin, that was a phenomenal piece. That was a phenomenal, crazy piece. I wonder if you're going to send, did I ask you if you're going to send that piece for the Story Rug show? No pressure. It's another one of those great pieces. Oh gosh, and I got this I think yesterday, maybe it was this morning. Brenda, oh this is so pretty. You sent two rugs. I'm going to show you the other one in a second. You designed these from the vintage postcard era flamingos for Florida, and these are so cheery. The flamingo on the barn. So this one I'm going to show you two. This one is the first one. Super pretty. Doesn't it have the feel of a great, fun is the perfect word. Oh, sunny, warm. I wrote back and I said, I can feel that orange sun making my skin warm, right? Because right now there's been a couple of days in a row where you go outside and the air hurts your face, Feeling that nice warm sun on the skin. Oh. Taking a water break. This is a great way to hang a rug. It really is. It's not damaging the rug at all. You can get it perfectly up there. It's such a, and they sell these clippy things too as decoratives, right? With like decorative buttons and stuff. Man, if you found like a jar of decorative buttons at like an antique fair or shop or something, and you glued those on, that could be some extra blingy bling, right? Or Bakelite buttons or anything. You could add even more fun to it, but this is perfect the way it is because it really is a graphic piece. I'm just thinking, I'm taking the thought as far as it can go. This is a really clever way to hang, and it's such a beautiful piece. Look at the color changing background in this. It really evokes these old souvenir cards that are so cheerful. Tourism Florida should use this rug. They absolutely should. For Florida hookers, this should be like a banner for everything. And you do have another one. Let me show the other one too, because the other one is also so beautiful. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no, don't tell me I put the same one in twice. Oh, I put the same one in twice. Oh, no, I'm going to have to show you the other one next time. I'm so sorry. I think I loaded... Yeah, I'm sorry. I loaded the same one twice. It is beautiful. It's worth seeing twice. But I think you sent me a second one. I'm sorry about that. Absolutely love this, Brenda. I love the height too. It reminds me of the Hollywood sign, right? With like those big, huge, steep letters, really deep looking letters. Oh, you headed to Florida tomorrow for a wedding, Juliet. We'll travel safely and have super fun. I absolutely love it. Good old Amazon has bags of those clips. Yeah, they're great for stuff like that. I know not everybody's into Amazon, but I am. I find things that I need there. It saves me so much trouble driving around, wasting time, fooling around, And when I buy the wrong thing, it's so frustrating. It's so upsetting. Ryan says, let me just click on here and I'm going to come right back. Ryan says, the problem with plain curtain hangers is they're oriented in the wrong direction. Plain curtain hangers is they're oriented in the wrong direction. Oh, I see what you mean. Like the ones that go into the creases of the fabric curtains. Ah. I never even thought of those, but leave it to you to figure that out. That would be a thing. Yeah. Interesting. And April says, have a good trip. Have a good trip. Take some pictures of that warm sun. Now, this is another beautiful, beautiful one. This is actually by Carol Feeney. Hold on just a second. I think Brenda sent this too. You know, maybe Brenda did send one rug and this was the second one. That could be. So she sent this one. I think Brenda color planned this for her friend Carol Feeney. And this is a beautiful geometric that I really, really loved. I think I said, what is going on down there? This is such a good color plan. It has such a great... Remember yesterday when we were looking at the Garrett Blue Nose patterns and I said, they really killed it with geometrics on ovals, right? They killed it with geometrics in general, but their oval geometrics were like nobody else's. It was like a real niche-y thing. Geometrics like this really, really get me because, again, it reminds me of that Barry Manilow song, New York City Rhythm. It has a city feel to me, and partly because of the Art Deco, partly because of the combos of like these big angular, big sweeping blades of color, swaths of color. Looks like a city scene to me. Looks like a night scene at that. It's very jazzy, right? Oh, I think we have a visitor. Yep, we have a visitor. Come on in, baby. Okay, nothing weird. Nothing weird. You're saying hi to everyone? Yeah, again, I think so. I think so. That geometric looks sci-fi futuristic. It sure does. Get it all out. Get it all out before bedtime, man. Do it. Do it. All right. This is the interval entertainment right here. Hey, wait, can you refill my water, please? I'm so thirsty.
Bye-bye.
Perfect, perfect. So I also love the don't go downstairs with the glass running. That geometric looks sci-fi and futuristic. It absolutely does. It's just so cool. I'll tell you, he'll see that you all said hi to him when he comes back. He's such a wild man, but he's actually so gentle and sweet. That was about as lively as he's been for days. I think Brenda made this. Oh, it's Carol. Oh, okay, so it's Carol Feeney's pattern. Carrie, thank you. I had it reversed, but Brenda hooked it. Okay, so this must be the second rug, and I had that reversed. I'm so sorry. This is so beautiful. The colors are just crazy, and the thing that really gets me, right? Oh, Dave, I'll ask him when he comes back. He's gonna lie, right? Because he wants to like it. He wants to like a Whopper, but he just doesn't like. He doesn't like any condiments or any vegetables. So let's ask him when he comes back, and then we'll go back to Brenda's. Hey Teddy, Dave is asking how you like the Whopper. Thank you.
It was fine.
It was fine.
I didn't really like it.
Yeah, they probably won't use that in their marketing. It was fine. He loves seeing himself on camera. I love you, baby. I'll see you later. Okay, off he goes. I love you. Everyone's saying hi to you, Ted.
See you in New Mexico.
I'll see you in New Mexico. I guess he has something planned that I'm not aware of. Fantastic color sense. That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, so as I was saying, what I really like about this is the warms versus the cools, and this is instinct, right? To have a color plan this good, you really have to have a good instinct. There's that cornflower blue, right? The lighter blue, right? It's really, really a great color. Opposite the warm, like the orange, right? The blazing orange and the mustard color. And then we've got this mystery blue, right? This dark indigo blue that's similar, to the cornflower, but really a great contrast. Note here that everything is outlined. That is helping it along a lot. It gives it almost a spiral effect, right? It's almost like you're looking down into a circle, like in the top of a parking garage or something like that. He is a cool guy. He really is. He's such a sweet guy. I love the lime green. I love the lime green. You see how that one bright part, and it's perfectly placed at a diagonal, is introducing a very, very cool citrusy color. And it really is in contrast to the warm orange and mustardy colors. The darker blue is functioning as a neutral, and the lighter cornflower blue is very cool. It's just an amazing color plan, and the directional hooking on it really stands out because these are not completely solid materials. These are mottled, so that's one color, but when they were dyed, the pot was not stirred, right? So they were left to kind of sit, and you get one color attaching differently to the material. And as a result, it's quite mottled, but remaining the one color. And when you hook with modeled materials like this, you get these great effects, right? And it almost has a bit of an antique quality because the colors come and go a little bit like static on an old TV. Really lovely piece. Brenda, these are lovely pieces. I'm glad the mystery was solved with the flamingo, though, because I felt awful if I left one out. Brenda, two beautiful pieces. Karen, you have been killing it with the fairy tale stuff. Karen has been doing fairy tale stuff after the design like the fairy tale storybook class. You really, really pumped out a series of designs that are legendary. And this is one of them. And you did this with miniature punch. We're going to see two more. This is obviously Hansel and Gretel. And I loved the way that you said with this piece that you wanted to put a little darkness into the ground instead of it being really, really bright colors, because it is a very dark fairy tale, right? Two children being abandoned in the woods on purpose by their father, not once but twice on purpose, being led by the wicked stepmother who he chooses over his two, little kids. And there they are lost in the woods, struggling for nourishment, struggling for survival, and they find this mirage-like house made of candy, and of course they want to eat it, but it is bewitched, and this witch is there to get them and kill them and eat them. And very, very dark story. Lots of heavy themes about cannibalism and abandonment. One of the more violent of the stories, but with lots of beautiful motifs, like a beautiful candy house, candy woods. I love the evergreens here that look almost like cakes with these very measured kinds of garlands on them. I love the lollipop forest with the gumdrops. It's super appealing. I love seeing how the children are being lured by the witch, who's holding up. They're walking on a flagstone path. You can see maybe made of the licorice Necco wafers or something, that kind of color, right up to her house. Very appealing. And she's there giving them a lollipop as bait. And they're holding hands because they're hesitant and they're little. Really beautiful. And they're standing on the light part of the grass, which looks cheerful and safe. And you can see right behind from where they're standing, they're about to walk on the part of the grass that is very dark. And I think that's a great design motif, having that shift from very bright, colorful, safe, right? What is known, what you can see, what is in the light, to what is dark that you can't quite see. And that stands as a metaphor. And also her dress really picks up the opposite directional hooking. She goes vertically, the ground goes horizontally, same type of color family with those dark browns, right? That's really clever. Very, very clever. I love the lollipops, the lollipop sticks, giving a strong directional vertical pull, because this piece has a very strong horizontal pull, kind of a diagonal drag. But the up and down verticals of the lollipops really finish and stabilize what is a busy design, but works absolutely perfectly together. There are no design problems here. You can see this and read this perfectly. Again, this is done in miniature punch, which is also called Russian punch, so the smaller version. Andrea says, very clever, thought out rug. Super clever. And I have some more. This was you punched it so it's in reverse, right? The finished one's in reverse, but this is your drawing. Very tidy drawing, very well thought out, but we can see from this that you decided to make that really deliberate choice to create some darkness on the ground, right? Some uncertainty. And Judy says the lattice on the roof is clever too. It is. That is really, really clever. It reminds me of like a waffle or a wafer cookie, something like that. Really smart. Lots of beautiful details. Just an absolutely beautiful piece. I want to do another storybook class. It was so fun. I think we covered 4 fairy tales, and they were very different, maybe 5. I think it was, I can't remember, but it was too many. But it was so fun talking about them and brainstorming ideas together in class and pulling out the motifs that are the most important, because, all of these early fairy tales were really done, including the Grimm's fairy tales. The Grimm's were brothers who, they were German, and when they saw what was going on in Germany, right, even before the First World War, right, they felt like, I think it was the time of the Franco-Prussian War, I think, but I think that they felt like they were about to lose their cultural identity, and they started to shore up all of the literature that they knew from their childhood, which was a happy time, by recording it all. And they were adult stories. They were not stories for children. They were adult stories that they wanted to get down on paper because they were afraid that Germany would not remain German. So they wanted to record all of these great old stories, and they never meant them to be for children. And when they realized in their lifetimes that they were being read to children and they were super inappropriate, um, they sort of sanitized them, and they came out with later versions of Grimm's tales that were not as violent and hardcore because they were not meant for kids. But when they realized again that people were reading them to their kids, they put out different versions. So what people say about the Grimm brothers, is kind of stupid talk. When people go, "Oh, the Grimm's brothers, they're so grotesque and violent. They must have been like a couple of crazy people." They weren't like that at all. They were storytellers, and they were historians, and they documented their cultural history. But most of these fairy tales, whether they're Grimm's fairy tales or from other countries, a lot of French storytelling too, same thing, storytelling that was not meant for kids, that was passed down to kids and sanitized with every new generation. People realizing, this is not appropriate at all. So it's interesting to look at the fairy tales, and it's interesting to pull out as adults the adult motifs, because of course we don't want to talk about cannibalism with young children, and this is the in progress, right? April says that is interesting. I had no idea. Yeah, most fairy tales are just recorded storytelling. You don't get a lot of early examples of people telling stories to kids until we hit the Victorian period, and children are celebrated because Queen Victoria had so many, right? And she was like the eternal mother. Until that happened, children were not revered, and children were not celebrated, and nobody bent over backwards to make a child's life more pleasurable, right? That's a fairly modern concept that starts with Queen Victoria. And of course, as we get into the 20th century, workhouses and the Industrial Revolution aside, children become more and more celebrated and revered. But until that time, people are not, with very few exceptions, people are not writing for children. And you get juvenile themes, like fairy tale themes, like Cinderella goes back to like the 1600s. These were meant for adults, right? These were like hopeful, the early version of a Hallmark story, kind of cookie cutter, happy ending stories, but they were not intended to be for children, like none of them. Can someone send me a link for the Amazon washers or O-rings? If anybody has that handy, that would be a good thing. They are called O-rings or rubber rings on Amazon, and they do sell them in those little plastic boxes with compartments of like lots of different sizes. So you could get a mix box, and then you can experiment with the different sizes, and then you know what size to order next time. So this is the Hansel and Gretel piece. While it's being worked on, you can see the piece evolving. I always love to see the piece evolving. And then we move to, the side. You did this, I think just yesterday. You mounted this, because this is on weaver's cloth, onto like a canvas backing. And then you were experimenting with putting green rickrack on the side. And you were saying, does this look good? And I thought it looked good. I wouldn't do this with every piece, but I do like it with this piece, because do you remember when golden books used to have rickrack on the covers? Like there was an era of golden books where they always used rickrack. I think it was in yellow or gold, but it reminds me of that. And this being like a fairy tale, I thought it was super appropriate for this piece. I really like it. I thought it was really clever, really good piece. Cass says, I have to go get my grandson. Thank you so much for sharing too, and it'll be on for you later. Oh, have fun, Cass. Have fun with him. Give him a kiss for me. Now, this is The Princess and the Pea, and you are about to start The Princess and the Pea, and I cannot wait to see the way it evolves. Karen, I assume you're doing this with Miniature Punch, too. This is another one of the stories we talked about in class, and this one was one of the more frivolous of the fairy tales. It was more of like a social, it's one of these like mistaken identities or hidden identity stories, where the whole point is that this princess turns up in the rain, and because she's soaking wet to the bone, she doesn't look like a princess, right? It's never explained why she's on her own, or why she shows up at the door of this guy who happens to be an eligible prince, and he's gone through so many other women who he finds fault with for all different reasons. And they're not sure that she's who she says she is, because she doesn't look like a princess soaking wet. And the only reason that his mother can determine whether or not she is authentically a princess is with this specific sensitivity test, where they give her a bed that's loaded with mattresses. And if she feels the pee that's way on the bottom of the mattresses, if her skin is that sensitive, then she is truly a princess. Um, and of course she does, and it's a happy ending, but it's also a very superficial story because when you think about it, it's a very superficial prince, right? Who's kind of disposed of many other girls for 100 different reasons, and now he's on to this one. She goes through several nights of being a total nightmare as a guest in their house because she's not sleeping well. And instead of being like a normal guest, she's like a tornado of a guest. So they're both kind of miserable characters coming together, and maybe they deserve each other. But it's an interesting story with some very superficial but cute themes. Cindy saying, how miniature is miniature? So Cindy, miniature punch is like when, do you know DMC embroidery floss? If you can picture how thin that is, that's often too thick to go through a miniature punch. With many, depending on what punch you're using, they come in different sizes, right? Their little shafts come in different sizes. But for my punch, which I use the pretty punch, right? I don't do the ultra as much as I do the pretty punch. They're just different brands, and it's just my preference. But for many miniature punches, you would have to actually separate the strands of DMC to put it through the punch. So people end up making much smaller pieces because the loops come up teeny, teeny, teeny. So quite miniature. So Karen, how big would you say that these pieces are, like the Hansel and Gretel and the Princess and the Pea, just to give Cindy an idea? Because it is a good question. It's smaller than you think, but it goes remarkably fast. Like it really goes fast. Judy says, I changed that story to the princess with a pea shooter for my granddaughter. That is so funny. That is a good update. It's a bit of an insipid story, but it has beautiful imagery and it has this great textile crossover for us because of these mattresses, right? You see so many illustrations of this fairy tale with all of these different colors or patterned mattresses. And for people who like textile, that's super appealing. Oh, Annette, we'll see you next time. I'm probably gonna go till 9. I think we got plenty of content tonight. Karen, good luck with this stunning piece. And Karen has a third one ready. And she's saying all of these pieces we're going to put into the Design Like book under the fairy tale chapter. So she's hooking the first two, and she's saying if anybody wants to do this one, she is happy for someone else to hook this pattern because her plate is pretty full right now. So if anybody would like to hook the third in this series, this is actually my favorite one, Little Red Riding Hood. Again, super dark themes, but I absolutely love this one. I love the character of the wolf. I love Little Red Riding Hood, her very open and friendly expression. How she's not identifying this as not grandma at this moment is hard to tell, but that's the way the story goes. I love the patterning on the rug, the patterning on the bedspread, and the patterning out the window and the curtains, right? I love the trees out the window. That is so good. Trees or forests in fairy tales represent danger, right? Being lost, darkness, right? Isolation, being too far removed from civilization in a village. A forest is scary. It's a symbol in many fairy tales. It's universally a symbol. So seeing that forest out the window is like a danger flag. You're in trouble, little girl, red cloak or not. So this is a beautiful piece. And if anybody wants to hook this one, please let Karen know. Right. So Karen's saying the finished pieces that she's been doing are 8 by 8. Right. So that's how many they are. Juliet says I had a pretty punch years ago. I think I was in my 20s then. Totally forgot about it. I just love it. I use an ultra punch too. I like the pretty punch because it has that clip-on thing where you can put the spool on top of it. And I do have a lot of extras of those, and I do want to list them or make them available. I just haven't had time yet. It is super fun using it, and I like using it for that reason, that way. Yeah, Karen, your drawings are so fantastic. The Princess and the Peas. Okay, so they're different sizes. So Karen's saying the Princess and the Pea is 10 by 10. Lynn says, I love the miniature. Yeah, they are super, super fun. So these are great. So let Karen know if you want to hook that Red Riding Hood. Juliet, since last week you finished the dragon. You are another insanely fast worker. And you wrote, Deanna, I heard your call on coffee time for the dragon pick. Thanks for the shout out. Here it is for gallery night continuation. The hooking is done. Dragons over the land in the sky. This is how the historic city Chiang Mai in northern Thailand is referred to. Oh, the land in the sky. How cool is that? Is it a very high elevation? Is that why it's called that? Um, my trip with the Glass Dragons group is in 2 weeks. Eek. And you're going to Florida tomorrow to boot. But you're so excited. Now to do the binding. I'll sew on a 2-inch cotton rug binding with my sewing machine from the top side using a zipper foot. Oh, that's gonna. So using a zipper foot, that means it's not the normal presser foot, right? Because if you had the normal presser foot, you couldn't get super close to the edge. But when you have a zipper foot, it's like half of a presser foot, and you can get right up against what you're sewing. So I know most of you are sewers, so I probably didn't need to say that, but just for clarity. And you said fastest nice binding that I like the most, especially for a floor rug. That makes a lot of sense using the zipper foot. Um, what is your book? So the end of May is my deadline for that. So you were asking me about the designs and stuff. So absolutely beautiful. I mean, this dragon, yeah, Andrea said turned out lovely. It is just April too. Everybody's admiring it. Sharon, this is just really, really, really good. Again, I just love that this is a brown dragon. Um, it's just unexpected, right? It's more like a lizard. It's more like realistic to me, more than like a red dragon or a green dragon. It's like this creature could be something that is alive, right? Just in the remotest, highest parts of the highest hills of Thailand. Interesting. So I love the colors in the sky. I love how you use so many distinct colors. Karen, I think Lily's writing about the patterns into the thread. I love the many colors in the sky. I'm gonna lift it up a little bit. Let me see if I can open it up a little bit. Oh boy, we got a few more to do here. I got to speed it up. Um, I don't want to rush it though. I do not want to rush it. Hang on. Let me look at this. Oh, good Lord. And again, all the different materials too. Look at the amount of color. Julia, you are a master at mixing color. Do you separate like darks from lights, or do you just grab for what you grab for and you just instinctively know that it's going to work? Because you're using similar colors in the sky and on the ground, but there is such a strong distinction between the two. It's so, so, so well done. It's so well done. Lynn says, this dragon is amazing. My daughter is screaming at me to make it. It is just, it's so, I'm going to bring it back down just because I love looking at it close up, but it is a complete mystery to me. I mean, I can't do this myself. How you get that many colors in it and still have it be so clear. It's clear as a bell. Absolutely, absolutely beautiful. And that little salmon colored swirl or plume of dragon breath coming out. I like the head of the dragon too, right? It's kind of like the How to Train a Dragon. It looks like a real lizard. It doesn't look like a fictional dragon. It looks like this thing could live. I just love it. I just love it. Um, Sorry, I'm catching up with the thread too. Julia, you did this so fast and so well, and I know your trip is coming up, so you had to. But wow, this in your Chesapeake series, this is also just super gallery work. You have got such speed and you've got such talent. And your color voice is really distinctive. Like I would know that this was your work anywhere. You also love the stretched horizontal as a format, and that's a really unusual shape to go to. But your eye seems to like these exaggerated stretches. And again, that's one of your signature things. And it's so good to have signature things. It means that you're a real artist, right? I don't have any of that. You have so much of this built in. It really is a glorious piece. And Melanie says, I told my hubby that I wanted a dragon for Christmas. He got me one of those resin eggs that sits on the base. I know exactly what you mean with a light in it. Oh, okay, that's not what I thought. It's teal and purple. I'm still waiting for it to hatch. I thought you meant, have you ever seen those statues that are like an egg with a baby dragon coming out of it? That actually sounds really pretty, Melanie. I bet that would be nice. Like I'd like to have that in the bedroom while we're falling asleep and stuff. That would be really atmospheric. Juliet says I watched too many of those Games of Thrones episodes. I can't watch that. That's too over the top for me. But I do love fantasy stuff. I have to say. Former Dungeons and Dragons player, the only female in my group in high school. You can imagine how popular that made me. Our art club and Dungeons and Dragons club. Judy says, I love how you sweep the sweep of the hills works with the sweep of the dragon. It does. There is something so lyrical. It's almost like a musical staff with the kind of S shape of the dragon and then the S shape of the hill. But working counter to each other creates a cross like an X. And as we know, an X is a very strong composition. But it is a very lyrical and arabesque kind of an X. It really is. It's an extraordinary piece. I mean, I could spend a whole episode on this piece. It's absolutely tremendous. And our buddy Nancy started her zinnias. Remember, she had the kit out, the vintage seed pack kit. That's a ribbon candy hooking. There's my plug kit. And she was like, she laid it out. She sent a picture of it in the bags. And then she sent a picture of it out of the bags. And then she sent a picture of it laying out. And remember, the snow was in the distance in the last episode. She was in her window. It was all laid out. And it was like, Nancy, are you going to get started now? Because you got it all out. And she got started. Because she says, I'm an old needle pointer. She's been doing needlepoint for a while. She says, suggestions are always welcome. So, piggity wiggity, higgledy piggledy, then puzzle piece, too fun. So she is having fun doing it. And I have no suggestions. I can see that you've left your tails up. Perfect. I can see that you're getting good height. It's very even. You've got big fat loops. It looks beautiful. I have no doubt that it's going to continue looking beautiful. Oh, Jean, good to see you. Oh, I'm sure you'll watch it later. It's good to have you now. Great to see you. Nancy, this is coming out so well. You're doing a really good job. I'm glad you got going, and I can't wait to see. This was a couple days ago, I think, and I bet you got really far in the meantime. You're obviously going to be a fast worker, and I think being a needlepoint maker, it helps a lot, right? Because you already are in that groove. You're already used to using your hands and making quick decisions about placement. You're going to be doing great, Nancy. It's a great start. Kelly Edwards is new to the group, and you posted some rugs that I wanted to share tonight because they are so lovely. April says, doing really good on the zinnia, Nancy. Absolutely. Absolutely. She's killing it already. Beautiful border. Now, Kelly Edwards said, thank you for adding me to the group. I've made several rugs since 2001, but also got into making stained glass. I'm hoping to get back into rug making this year. Kelly, I also used to do stained glass. I used to teach stained glass at a local college years ago. This is so much cleaner and tidier than stained glass, isn't it? The cat rug was my first. And so this was the first rug that she did. It is phenomenal. And somebody asked in the thread, in case you're thinking the same thing, someone asked whose pattern the cat was, but Kelly didn't know because she bought it at a wool shop that's been out of business for many years, she said. And then Sherry wrote on the thread, she wrote, oh my gosh, I'm doing a McAdoo chair pad that looks almost exactly like this rug. Wow, very nice. So it could be a McAdoo. Maybe you know who it is, and if so, please put it in the thread. This is just so well done. This is an incredible first rug. I almost see like letters and words in it. I've been looking maybe at too many Hilma Off Clint paintings for the Design Light class, seeing things and squiggles. But man, this speaks to me. I love the squiggly nature of it. I love the color changes. I love the white whiskers. It really pops the cat, doesn't it? I know that face on so many cats. It is unreal, Carrie. It is. It is unreal. So this was Kelly's first rug, right? That in itself is insane. And this is, I think, did you say your second rug? Let me see. Yep, the pansy was one you made for your mom. And there were a lot of comments like, oh, I love a pansy rug. This is such a pretty rug. It is so romantic. Look at the color changing in the background. It's so subtle. And look at that pretty border. It's very heathery. That is a very mottled wool that goes from quite light to quite dark. So absolutely beautiful choices. It's just such a romantic rug. So old-fashioned in the best way. I love old-fashioned, right? I love the song, I'm Old-Fashioned. And this is the third one. So the pansies was for your mom, and the leaf fern one you made last year for your sister. Absolutely. You know, I love ones like this that have kind of the like a late summer fall feel to me. Like I'm seeing like greeny stuff, but I'm still seeing like harvesty, color changing leaves, almost berry colors. I absolutely love it. The colors in it are so pretty. You've got both warm and cool greens happening here. It's just a rainbow of colors, but it does have a harvest feel. I feel like I'm walking into or dreaming of like a nice market, like an early autumn market. Different color maple leaves falling, some of the yellow, all different kinds of color changing leaves. I see like the red sumac. It's just really, really pretty. The directional, and again, we're not going to know whose pattern these are because some of these were hooked a while ago, and Kelli was shopping at a store that was open, when she started a while back, and now the store isn't there anymore. And once you've hooked it and you've hooked in the details, it's kind of gone, isn't it? Super happy colors, April. Really good, really good. And Dave, you're right. The texture on the cat was crazy. It was just crazy. Carrie says, when you're that good at hooking, you're a prodigy. Absolutely. It just comes naturally. And I can see how you'd also be attracted to stained glass because I can see how you like the shape of things. With the cat and the pansies and this rug, you like the shape of things. You like making a nice crisp shape, a nice crisp outline. And that's the same with stained glass. That kind of carries over. Ryan says the McAdoo chair pad has the cat in the same pose. So I think the welcome mat, the demi rug was a lot bigger, and the chair pad probably is very similar. I know Happy to Franza did a lot with cats, but that doesn't look like her cat to me, but it could be just with some modifications to the face. Really, really beautiful. Kelli, that was beautiful. Different Kelli. So that was Kelli Edwards we were looking at. This is Kelli Smith, and I use this for the thumbnail. Beautiful rug that she just finished. Viola. She's 14 by 17. She's hooked with a number 6. She's so cheerful, and I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I love Kelli. I love Kelli's company, KelliSmithDesigns.com. Right, I put that into the description of this video as well. But I mean, Kelli is another maker and designer who I know her work just by looking at it. And that really says a lot. It's so good. Design-wise, it's so good. And the color changes in the sky, so good. Really good. The breaking the border looks fantastic, too. It has such a casual, whimsical quality to it, but it's so crisp. It's just really remarkable. It's a beautiful rug, Kelli. I absolutely love it. Love it, love it. Just want to be sure I didn't miss. Nope, we're good. And this rug is from Lois Williamson. Let me get to the right point. I hope I didn't miss putting in Sonia's rug. I had another rug from Sonia. I just want to be sure that hers is coming up. Well, hopefully it is. Otherwise, I'll show it to you next time. This is definitely Lois's rug. Lois Williamson, my first attempt at doing a punch needle rug, I used acrylic worsted weight yarn. I have 4 large Rubbermaid containers full of yarn. This made a dent somewhat. I just need to steam press it again, then apply Flex Seal to the back of it. So she is going to seal the back of it. This is a rug that's down on the floor, and she was punching the acrylic yarn. Sometimes the acrylic can be a little bit slippery in the backing. So some people do like to put glue or backing on it. I always get questions about this. I don't do this myself, but I feel it is smart, logical, intuitive, and intelligent to make a judgment call based on the way that you see your piece. I can't tell from this photo if this is clipped or not, and when it's clipped, I think people are more inclined safety-wise to seal the back, but this is probably not a conversation for 8:38 on a Friday because I want to show you a few more rugs. This is just a beautiful piece, another great pop art piece. Lois did an amazing job here with changing colors out. It's on a beautiful dark green ground, and then all these different color flowers, but they do repeat in a pattern, if you can tell. And I love how in the center there is the yellow one, and all of the others have a yellow center. It's like the switching out. Graphically, it's a super successful rug. It looks like technically it's a super successful rug. Your first attempt at punch needle, you did great. You did great. And if you just made a dent in all those buckets of yarn, all the tubs, you did great. Susie, good to see you. Really nice piece and a great inspiration, right? It's good to just open the stuff that you have and get going, isn't it? I mean, that in itself is an inspiration. Just get going. If you have tubs of something, figure out how to use it, make it functional, make it beautiful, experiment a little bit. It's just a really successful rug, Lois. You did great. Paige McIntosh Garnto, also another lovely one. Finally finished my first one. There's a lot of new buddies in our group, our Facebook group, which again is Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club. I love to pull up things that are by our new members, and it always blows me away to see these first pieces. It's like this generation of hookers that are coming up now are just unbelievable. Hookers and punchers. It's unbelievable. I think the internet and YouTube is helping a lot with instruction. Not having to like find a teacher near you or sign up for a class, just being able to log on and figure something out, get enough confidence to get going, and to be able to do a project like this as your first piece is just amazing. You said, finally finished my first one. It's not perfect, but I don't feel like it's too bad. And it's definitely not too bad. It is super, super lovely. What pretty colors, what pretty soft colors. I love the butterfly flying in silhouette above. It's a nice silhouette piece. The colors really are the charm. It has such a softness to it. It perfectly fits in the hoop, so you could frame it in a hoop like that, even in a wooden hoop or something. It would be so pretty. It's a wonderful first piece. I feel like you've mastered the technique, and you'll probably just be moving on to larger pieces and using the same technique because your technique looks great. The composition is great. It's a lovely piece. I love the way that it curls and wraps. It's a nice circle piece. Very smart, very charming, very well done. Really lovely piece, Paige. And this piece was posted by Denitza Rosenweg. And another lovely, lovely piece. This is not by Denitza. She wrote, I've attended the rug exchange and I've got in the post this pillow with the purple finch. I am in love with this masterpiece from Ann Miller Polizzo, my buddy Ann. She is so talented. Thank you, Ann. So Ann made this for the exchange piece. It's a small piece that she turned into a pillow. Ann is so good. We look at a lot of Ann's pieces and a lot of Ann's hacks on gallery nights. But so pretty. Janitza, I'm so glad that you are enjoying it. It is absolutely beautiful. Everything Ann touches is great. Oh God, I love the colors on this. That Wedgwood blue background with these warm rust colors. Look at that warm rust border. Warm rust with Wedgwood blue is going to be a home run. Absolutely. And then the nice soft rosy pinks, right? Soft kind of cherry red rosy pinks of the bird. Oh, God, it's so good. And the branches, too, are very color changing. You see that's patterned wool. It's just excellent. I like the darker berries, right? It's allowing the bird to pop, but the warm color of those dark bellies, the belly's really cute, too. But those dark berries are really ringing with that russet border. It's a fantastic piece. And you did an amazing job. Denitza, I'm so glad that you're enjoying it because it's such a beautiful piece. What a gift. What a beautiful gift. This piece is by Faith Beautranger Kume. Absolutely beautiful. This is a Prati piece, right? And this is the way that I really like to see Prati done. I like it when it's patched in places where you would fully expect to find it. This is a very cool kind of Jacobian pattern, postage stamp border, unexpected purple border, and I love it. I love how the grass is done using the same border, keeping the border going, right, but just filling it, almost like a pool at the bottom with this lovely, warm, mossy green. I love the green of the leaves, too. These are unexpected greens, very neutral greens, really warm, really pretty. Look at this adorable sheep that's done in this, curly, curly yarn. I'm drinking water like crazy. I can't stop. I'm afraid I'm going to get the hiccups. And then these Prati flowers, right? The petals of the Prati is a very three-dimensional, pulling through with a hook or pushed from behind with a Prati tool. Beautiful petals on the flowers. Look at that height. How luscious. Such nice colors, too. I love the vanilla background. It really is such a nice, tidy piece with so much interest here. And that adorable bird, right? Very cruel style bird, Crewel, looking up and away. It has that promo gown feel, right, of one of her Jacobian pieces. So pretty. Such a successful piece. It's called Emma's Garden. And the pattern is by Chris Miller of Spruce Ridge Studio. It's a wool hooked rugs. And she said, I hook a heart on all of my rugs as a peekaboo. Let's see. Oh, I see the heart. It's embedded in the background. Do you see it too? Oh, that is so cute. That's such a great signature thing to do, hooking a heart like that. That is so clever, Faith. And it's so meaningful too, isn't it? That's such a beautiful piece. I just love it. I just love it. It's a really, really charming piece. It's the nice, folky, oversized quality, right, of the plant versus the sheep. It's so funny and so folky. I just love it. Melanie, so this is proof that you finished those flowers, and it is so, so lovely. You still need to do the edging, but it's off the frame and it's steamed. The buttercups, again, 14 by 30, Dion Fitzpatrick. It's on burlap with acrylic yarn. Absolutely. And I said to you on your post for this piece, this is honestly one of my favorite pieces of all time. And earlier when you said, "Oh, I'm going to take out some of the purple," I thought, "No, don't do it." But I can see that you did do it, and it really was the right thing to do. This is honestly one of my favorite pieces I have ever seen. Like, this makes me crazy. This makes me crazy. I really, really, really love this piece, Melanie. I really love this piece. I love it. Has like the midnight sky, right? Like that really tweedy sky background, and then that mountain line that's a dark, dusky. Oh, it's so good. And then that layer of purple, shelves of color, right? Shelves of color. That purple, it does look great. It looks so shadowy and right with the darker purple in there, that aubergine color. And I do like how you put some almost confetti flecks of a lighter purple in there. You were right. You were absolutely right. I love the line that you did just below the peak on the top mountain. You're so good. I love the blockiness in the yellow flowers. You're so good. This is so good, and the blockiness in the foreground. It's so good. It's so good. The two colors of green mixing. For me, nothing is better than when two colors are close but they don't match. There is that sort of camo patchwork on the lowest level, the green grass. But man, you put it in that truer green up the stem and in the leaves, and now I'm just getting stomach cramps because it's so good. I love color used this way, and I love the magic of the brightness of the buttercups, right, in what otherwise looks like dusk or a night sky. Ah, God, I just really love this piece. I really love it a lot. Jean, I hope it's okay that I put this photo in. I just thought this was a great post that Karen put in our group. And Jean, you're looking gorgeous. So how could you object, right? You look so pretty. So Karen posted this in our group. Jean Coates, the organizer of our holiday rug mug exchange. So when you participate in the rug exchange, this is Jean standing up who handles that, right? So everybody I hope is very, very kind, because it is such a gift to have somebody willing to organize an exchange of that caliber, of that size. It's a lot of fiddliness, a lot of names, a lot of things changing hands, and Jean has done multiple, and they always come out so well. So in this photo, you are together, and in this, Karen, I think this is your place, and Therese Kilgore, who's seated, is demonstrating, yeah, at your house, is demonstrating doing Waldoboro. And so Jean, you're watching, you're looking at her work on that. From mini rug hooking, monthly gathering. Oh, it's a monthly gathering. Major snowstorm that night. Did you have a major snowstorm that night in the end? Oh, this looks like so much fun. It is a real hive of hookers in Colorado, isn't it? Hookers and punchers. I think that's just great. That's another real hornet's nest of great talent. Oh, Melanie says I don't dye, so it's really nice to have the color choices. You know that it is nice to have the color choices, and you do a lot of, like, when you did like the little confetti flecks of purple and the changes in the green and the changes in the yellow. It is great to have those. If you're not dyeing, then you must have a good little stash going, at least bits and pieces of each color, and that is so important. It really gets you there, doesn't it, in the end? Linda, this is a beautiful piece. Did you send this? You might have sent this today. I just love this piece too. You wrote, I just made this small 10 by 12 owl, wool and acrylic yarn. What a sweet pea this little guy is. You said, I just sketched it out and I started on a panel of Beetles. You just sketch and get going, don't you? You just do it. You just do it. I love this big, huge harvest moon and this little owl with his little tufts of feathers at the top of his ears, the expression, the eyes glimmering and glowing in the moonlight. It's his time of the day, isn't it? It's his time of the day is the night. And this beautiful blue in the background. You work so fast. It is great colors, April. It is a lot of oohs and ahs. It is so pretty. Very striking. Great composition. Great story. Jean says you did get snow later that night. You drive 2 hours one way to hook with these amazing ladies. That is well worth it. Oh, if it was 2 hours, I'd be there every time too. That is well worth it. So Linda, you started this, you finished it. You're amazing. That is a lovely piece, and you started in on this piece. I love this piece too. I love the speed you go at, the energy that you bring to every piece. Every piece is so different. I love your style. I love your style, not just your hooking style. I love your style. Really pretty. You sketched out and started a panel of Beetles, and you said, I like the idea of a weekly gallery night. It's exciting to see that diversity of talent out there, and it would free me up for developing content. Absolutely. That's always a big thing for me. Thanks for realizing that. It's always a big thing for me with this show. When I do a show with content, that's half my day, right? And I've also got to do orders and be a mom and drive around and um, um, proof one book and finish the second book. It's a lot. So when I can do shows like this, where all I've got to do is the computer part of loading photos, a show like this, just FYI, takes about 3 hours to put together, and that's with Jane getting it set for me, and then just me dropping stuff into the show and getting the content ready. And I do like to not look at the pieces too closely until I'm with you on Friday night, because I feel like when I look at stuff for the first time, um, it's the sharpest for me, right? The impressions are the strongest for me. I really, really love this piece. I really love this piece. Um, I love series things like Warhol style series, and I love multiples. This is going to be really great. I also really love Beetles. So I'm curious to see how this evolves. I cannot wait. I just love the way that the first guy came out. It's going to be a great piece. I love Beetles, and this is how you know I love Beetles. This is a painting I did when I was in college. God, I was, I guess, 18, and now I'm turning 51. So that was a while ago. And my sister has this now at her house. She's having it framed. I don't usually like it when my like artwork is out, particularly when it was done when I was in my teens. I mean, I couldn't even order a beer at this point. But this is when I was studying studio art at Marymount College in Tarrytown, New York. And I loved it. And I did turn it into a rug hooking pattern, and a few people have bought it. So Colony of Beetles, completely different than Linda's piece, right? I like your piece even more, Linda. I really like your piece more. But for all over patterns, it reminded me of that piece. I don't want to take away from Linda's piece because it really is amazing. I really like it. Yeah, just different. The all over pattern, the scatter pattern versus this. This is much more of a scientific study. It reminds me of like the sort of taxidermy insects, like butterflies pinned in a box, like Victorian era kind of a thing, studying their designs and what species they are. Really beautiful, really beautiful. Oh, and we looked at this one by Deborah at the beginning because she had to run off and go to work, but I'm happy that we got that in. And our last rug for the night, wait a minute, let me turn my sheet over. Carrie, this is really a masterpiece, and you wrote, this is another one that you recently finished, your most recent, and that you're really proud of this one. And it's going to hold a place in the living room. And Carrie, it should hold a place in the living room because this is an extraordinary rug. There's so much that I love about this rug. I see a heart embedded in the bottom right corner. I also see a heart in the fin. It's so shapy, this rug. It's so shapy and design driven. I immediately can see. First of all, I love the colors. I love I love this rug. I love the colors. I love to see this much of a neutral and still have such a strong color palette. I have a particular love for when I see a lot of neutral and then you see pastels as accents. That's one of my favorite tricks, right? That's a very Art Deco era trick. I do that a lot with my pieces. With the pieces I design, I do a lot of huge expanses of pastel, of neutral with a pastel. I just find it interesting to have to almost search for that color. In this piece, I can see it right away. But it goes well together. It's like a rainbow, right? It's the beginning of a rainbow after the rain. You get this like hazy gray, right? Misty, and then you see these bright pastels emerging, and it's so exciting. I love the directional hooking on the face with the wool, and then I can see that you hooked with yarn, for example, for the body and for the background. I'd love to see that mix, right? It really looks different. It adds a very different texture to the fish's body, and it does make me think of a live fish on a fishing boat, poor little thing, but so tasty, sitting there flopping around in all the different textures on the body. Maybe that was gruesome for a Friday night, sorry. And it is Lent too. But, just beautiful, beautiful. I just love it. And I love the color change. I, I feel like there are so many people in this group who are masters at creating one color with color changing materials. This is an example of that too. I mean, this is really smart. Robin did that throughout with the children in the boat, the Sharon Smith design. This is another example of that. And this is like the thoughtfulness of doing the wool strips and the yarn is really clever. I love the color change in the background as well. I love the dark with the red and then the brighter reds. There looks to me like there's at least 3 colors of red in the background. This piece breaks the border, and we had some questions in one of our groups this week about breaking the borders. I do like to see a border being broken. Um, Sometimes. It really depends on the piece. That's what Karen said, and she was right on that post. It really depends on the piece. I feel that this is a piece where it really benefits from having the border broken. It's a very simple motif, and it creates more interest to see the border broken. One of the other things about this piece that's interesting is while you can tell it's a fish, it's a very special fish, right? Because it has this rainbow glow to its face. It's got this large golden eye, and it's got this heart-shaped fin with a lot of linear detail to it. And it's got fins that are different colors, very, very shapy. It's got that kind of like Poseidon tail, right, that splits, forks. It's really a different fish. It's a very shapy, line-driven fish, very lyrical-looking fish, very curvy fish, really different. And I like how the tip of his extra pointy nose and the ends of his tail are breaking that border. I think it looks amazing. It really is so good. It just goes to show when you have a design of a fish, you can take it this far, right? You can take it this far. And I have to say, just that the gray neutrals going towards sort of greens and silvers with the pastel touches on the face and that very unexpected primary red with the heavy black border, it's just an incredible color scheme. It really is. It's really incredible. I love it. And I realized that I missed putting in the bench design that Sonia posted recently. So I'll put that into our next gallery night. She drew out a bench design. I thought I had it in the show. That was the only piece in my mind that was missing. My eye just started twitching. But we had a lot of lovely pieces tonight. And we'll have so many more lovely pieces next time. So good. So thank you so much we're actually on time tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in with me tonight. It's so much fun to look at your work. It's my favorite nights plural when we look at your work on a Friday night. It's like being at a gallery together, and I just can't get enough of that. More and more, I just love looking at everything, right? Even like just being in New York the other day and looking around at the architecture. I noticed that the Folk Art Museum in New York City is opening an exhibit on quilts in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to head back down for that. That's going to be another eyeful. But just standing and looking at stuff is wonderful. And looking at your stuff is my favorite because I feel like I know all of you. So thank you for joining. And I'm going to be doing some work for the next couple of hours. I'm going to be away tomorrow, but you can reach me at ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com. I'm going to be putting back a flight of sake. And particularly like the lemongrass sake. It is so good. And having some nice sushi with my mom and my sister. And then I will be with you on Sunday for the Design Like the Women Abstractionists. And it is just, I was putting it together this afternoon. I just had like tears rolling down my face. There must be something wrong with me. I was loving it so much. The content is so good. I mean, the lives of these women, God, it's so good. It's amazing storytelling, except it's all true. So I hope to see you on Sunday for that. And otherwise, I'll see you Monday for coffee time. That class will repeat itself next Wednesday if you're not able to make Sunday. And it is recorded for those of you who can make neither. So otherwise, I will see you on Monday for coffee time, regular time at noon Eastern Standard Time. I don't know what we're going to be covering, but it'll be great. Hope I can come up with some content between now and then. It is going to be a busy weekend. I just thought of that. When is the window going to be for that? Give me some ideas if you can. It might have to be a fly by the seat of the pants kind of an episode. We'll see how it goes. Happy weekend, everybody. And I hope to see you Sunday or at least Monday. Take care, and remember you can write to me at ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com. Thumbs up. Thank you to Patreon supporters. Like, subscribe,